Good morning and welcome to the Boulder Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I am Reverend Lydia Ferrante Roseberry. I am the minister of this beautiful congregation. And as you can see, I'm coming to you from home today as I'm recovering from a cold and a sore throat that I do not want to give to anyone. In our sanctuary today, our first-time service associates, Marilyn Leist, in what I would call a baptism by fire event. Tad Coriath and Aaron Patterson and Amy Austin are providing music, and you can already tell how absolutely beautiful it is. And our tech team today in the sanctuary is Bill Beachley and Mary Hill. And Kathy Partridge is joining me on Zoom as the Zoom host. And of course, there is all of you, Zoomies and Roomies, and together we make a beloved multi-platform community. As I say the welcome words today, just take a look around at those who are near you, either in the sanctuary or in the little boxes on your Zoom screen. Excuse me, you might need to go to platform, what is it? What's it called? Gallery view, sorry, gallery view to see everybody if you're on Zoom. Remind yourself as you're looking around of everyone's inherent worth and dignity, including your own. You are all welcome here today in all the beauty of languages, cultures, skin tones, shapes and sizes, gifts and challenges that come together in your uniqueness. You are welcome here. In all the ways you experience and express gender, you are welcome here. In the beauty that is who you love and how you love, you are welcome here. With all the traditions that inform your spiritual life, you are welcome here. No matter how long you are away, nor how soon until you return, you are welcome here. Whether you come with laughter in your heart or with tears today, you are welcome here. You are invited to join us with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands. We welcome you today. We acknowledge that the land surrounding us is the stolen territory of the Arapaho people, and that many Native American nations roamed freely on this land for millennia before the arrival of white settlers. And as a congregation, we commit ourselves to be a center for spiritual exploration and justice making, and to anti-racism and anti-oppression work within and beyond our congregation. So if you're new here, we're glad you found us and hope that in this community, whether you're with us in person or virtually, you can experience the warmth and the love of this congregation. Each Sunday is different here, so please come back a few times to get to know us. And we have many opportunities during the week for connection, social connection, and spiritual growth. For today's service, Zoomies will need a little sheet of paper. Any old piece of paper will do. And those in the sanctuary should have found one on your seat. Those on Zoom can check out the links in the chat to help you get connected to the fellowship. And those in person can find a newcomer form on the QR code in the back of the hymnal or stop by the welcome table to get connected. After the service, I will be leading the Inquirers series, Chat with the Minister, from Zoom, with member Rosemary Arp in the sanctuary, zooming in with those who are there and would like to attend. So as you probably know, Boulder County has returned to the COVID high level, meaning that we are now requiring masks again in the building. Roomies are welcome to stay and chat, being mindful of physical distancing. There's a coffee hour in the fellowship hall, and you can remove your mask to eat, or you can step outside and take your masks off and be with one another. As a reminder, each service participant who takes their mask off tested negative for COVID this morning. And we ask that everyone keep your mask on in the sanctuary, even while singing. Finally, if there are any new visitors on Zoom who would like to introduce yourselves in the chat, please do, because we love to know who's among us. And for those of you in the sanctuary, we're going to try something new. Please turn to your neighbors and say hello. And if you're a newcomer, let them know that so that we can greet you more warmly after the services. Well, I hope those of you in the sanctuary got a chance to say hello a little bit to each other. There was a little bit of chatter on the chat here. This being the season of Advent, we'll be lighting our Advent wreath this week as a reminder of what this season could offer us should we choose to look at it that way. The candle for the second Sunday of Advent is purple, like last week's, and it represents faith. Now, faith, I know, is a tricky word for some Unitarian Universalists, many of whom came out of traditions that told you what to believe. But faith is vital to life. If you consider faith as something you believe in with strong convictions and with a sincerity of intentions, moving it from just an idea to an idea in action. Many Unitarians might say they have faith in the power of intentional community to create positive change in the world. For others, it might be calling on ancestors or angels for protection, or both. The invitation as we light this faith candle is to ask yourself, what do I have faith in? What conviction, something that I may not ever be able to prove, is strong enough that it informs my actions? Perhaps it's the power of love in the world that works for me. Now, if you have a chalice at home, you can light it with me and repeat the chalice lighting words afterwards as Marilyn lights our chalice lights our fellowship chalice. And so we know where all our chalices are. Please write in the chat, chalice lit in the name of your town. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action.
And now we'll sing our bowl one more time, inviting it to draw you deeper into the present moment and this, our beloved community. These are the opening words. Excuse me. They were written by Reverend Robert Walsh. I heard the second Brandenburg Concerto played in honor of Bach's 300th birthday, and I was swept away. I remembered a story about the people who send messages to outer space. Someone suggested sending a piece by Bach. The reply was, but that would be bragging. Some say we get what we deserve in life, but I don't believe it. We certainly don't deserve Bach. What have I done to deserve the second Brandenburg Concerto? I have not been kind enough. I have not done enough justice. I have not loved my neighbor or myself sufficiently. I have not praised God enough to have earned a gift like this. Life is a gift we have not earned and for which we cannot pay. There is no necessity that there be a universe no inevitability about a world moving forward, moving toward life, and then self-consciousness. There might have been nothing at all. Since we have not earned Bach, crocuses, or lovers, the best we can do is express our gratitude for the undeserved gifts and do our share in the work of creation. These words by Unitarian minister Robert Walsh remind us how many things in life can be experienced with awe and wonder. As you listen to our guest musician, Aaron Patterson, play the following movement from a Bach cello suite, you are invited to allow yourself to fall into the wonder of it all and in our time together.
Well, it feels a little bit like old times for me. I'm zooming in from a first service today in my bunny slippers. And after a brief foray of having masks optional, everybody at the ship is all in masks again. Just so you know, I have tested repeatedly negative for COVID, but I do have a nasty sniffly cold and sore throat that I do not want to pass along to anyone. When the COVID level for Boulder County rose to high again this week, my heart sank. High level means that there is a high level of severe illness and a high potential for a healthcare system strain. Nobody wants this. And so as tired as we are of all of it, all of us have to pitch in to slow the virus down and adapt and adapt and adapt, especially when the virus gets the upper hand like it has right now. As we round the corner towards our third year of the twists and turns of pandemic life, I began to wonder again this week, what are the lessons here? So I returned to the poetry of the time. On March 11th, 2020, my colleague, the Reverend Lynn Unger, wrote, "Pandemic. What if you thought of it as the Jews considered the Sabbath, the most sacred of times? Cease from travel, cease from buying and selling, give up just for now on trying to make the world different than it is. Sing, pray, touch only those to whom you commit your life. Center down. And when your body has become still, reach out with your heart. Know that we are connected in ways that are terrifying and beautiful. You could hardly deny it now. Know that our lives are in each other's hands. Surely that has come clear. Do not reach out your hands, reach out your heart. Reach out your words, reach out all the tendrils of compassion that move invisibly where we cannot touch. Promise this world your love, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, as long as we all shall live." How relevant those words remain today. She reminds us that pandemic or not, the gifts of letting our bodies slow down, of centering down, as she says, of reaching out with our hearts and of promising the world our love are essential. Now, honestly, I'm going to say that sounds much easier in a poem than in practice. On Friday, a friend of mine reflected that at the beginning of the pandemic, she centered down into her meditation practice and she felt spiritually stronger after that. And I can remember at the beginning of the pandemic doing yoga every day with my daughter at 4 o'clock. It bonded us together and it also strengthened me in so many ways. My friend lamented, and I could concur, that productivity has now become her practice again, the focal point of her days. Is your to-do list your sacred text too? Not this kind of text, but your scripture, that to which you return to again and again to find some sort of centering, some sort of meaning to your days. Certainly the theme of slowing down to more fully experience our connection to ourselves, to one another, and to the world isn't new. When I was in Massachusetts the other day, it was actually the other day, last week, over the Thanksgiving holidays, I picked up my copy of Walden, written by our own Unitarian ancestor, Henry David Thoreau. Now, I have to confess that I really struggle with his arrogance, especially knowing that his mother brought him sandwiches and did his laundry. But putting aside his hubris, his questions about why we live the lives we live, and his desire to do things differently so that he might live more fully, still rings true. In the gendered language of his contemporary, he writes, "Most men even in this comparatively free country, through mere ignorance and mistake, are so occupied with the fictitious cares and superfluously coarse labors of life that its finer fruits cannot be plucked by them. In the woods, away from the grid and the grind, Thoreau was able to stop in awe and wonder, noting things like the greatest gains and values are furthest from being appreciated. We easily come to doubt if they exist. We soon forget them, and they are the highest reality. The true harvest of my daily life is somewhat as intangible and indescribable as the tints of morning or evening. It is like a little stardust caught, or a segment of the rainbow which I have clutched. Now, this month, the Soul Matters theme is the path of wonder. So we're going to be exploring it in many ways, and on many days. And I'm convinced that our capacity to experience the wonder of the world is connected to our capacity to center down, still our bodies, and open up our heart's eye. By that, I mean a way of seeing that enables us to look beyond the surface of things to their deeper level and to the mystery of the interconnection of it all. And maybe the early days of the pandemic offered that to some of us. But for reasons of human folly, it's hard to stay there. Oh, how the human mind is trained to overlook the mystery of the ordinaries, of the ordinary, even in ourselves. St. Augustine wrote, people go abroad to wonder at the heights of mountains, at the huge waves of the sea, at the long courses of the rivers, at the vast compass of the ocean, at the circular motion of the stars, and they pass by themselves without wondering. We pass by so much, ourselves, parts of ourselves and each other, each and every day, without engaging that faculty of wonder, without marveling at its complexity and its beauty. The way rain runs down a window, or how your dog knows how to bury a bone, or the look of love in a newborn's face, or the unique shape of your mother's handwriting and how yours is starting to look that way too. So much to marvel at, so much wonder in creation. I believe that the most essential spiritual practice is cultivating or recapturing our capacity to live in awe and wonder at the extraordinary, ordinary beauty that is sprinkled into every moment of our lives. It's essential for our own sanity and for saving our world. And I'll explain that. Alice Walker writes, the more I wonder, the more I love. It's time to fall in love again with that which is right in front of us. The simple, the beautiful, the local. Can we, you and I, together and individually, turn down the volume in that part of us that always looks for marvels out there, and instead experience them in the simplicity of what's right in front of us? Because when we can wonder like that, we will love it in a new way. And when we start loving something, we extend ourselves for its well-being. And the world right now, our planet needs us to extend ourselves, to sacrifice, to change how we do things for its well-being and for our very survival. Maybe this is the ongoing lesson of the pandemic, the reminder to slow down, stay local, connect to what's most important, with that which we can truly have faith, and to promise the world our love. May it be so.
Now we're going to have a chance to wonder at our ability to make music together. So we are going to sing in your gray hymnal, number 94, What is This Life? The text is just a perfect follow-up to Reverend Lydia's words. Would you stand as you are moved or able and join me in singing this song? What is this life if full of care? We have no time to stand and stare, no time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep or cows. No time to see when woods we pass, how squirrels hide their nuts in grass. No time to see in broad daylight streams full of stars like stars at night. No time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her fade how we can dance. Oh, more like this if full of care we have no time to stop and stare.
How do you describe awe? It's a feeling caused by something extraordinary, mysterious, or new to one's current experience. Like viewing the great Grand Canyon for the very first time. How do you describe wonder? Wonder is a feeling of surprise mingled with admiration, caused by something beautiful, unexpected, unfamiliar, and inexplicable, like watching the fireworks for the first time. While we heard all about the total lunar eclipse on November 8th, the question is, did you watch it? Did you watch that extraordinary event at 2 a.m., or did you watch it on social media the next day? How did you feel as you watched the Earth and Moon align and turn a brilliant red? What were you thinking? Was it both awe and wonder? You have plenty of time to think about it. The next one will be March 14th of 2025. So then there's a story about saving Brenda. The orangutan conservation program in Sumatra monitors the health of animals. Looking at the picture, you can see 10 hands working carefully to save that little creature. A photographer was in the room, and he felt a sense of surprise and wonder by the number of people around that operating table caring for this little bitty orangutan. The photographer decided he was going to monitor the event. He stood on a chair, held on to the ceiling while capturing this memorable experience. Surviving the hiking of Old Rag. One beautiful sunny day, several women and I were finally going to hike Old Rag, a mountain in the Shenandoah National Park. We were going to do some rock scrambling, which I had never done before. Walking over the rocky terrain, we came upon a crevasse. While it wasn't very wide, it was deep, and I was terrified. The other women leapt over it so easily, and I just stood there looking down. Soon, a woman put her hand in my hand, and I jumped across. How did that feel? Well, first of all, I was in awe of the experienced woman. I have never forgotten the feeling of trust and safety as her hand held mine. There was a sense of wonder all around me, as you can see from the picture, from the fantastic views to the realization that I was actually able to continue the hike. The pride of the Ukraine. 11 lions were at risk in Ukraine, led by the Wild Animal Sanctuary, along with several not-for-profit organizations. The lions were taken from Ukraine to Romania, to Texas, to Colorado. Can you imagine the elation of the staff members who traveled with the lions and those who worked to prepare the new site in southern Colorado when all 11 arrived safely? Whenever I've taken my family to the Keensburg, Colorado sanctuary, they have come away both awed and thankful that the wild animals are being cared for. But they especially notice with wonder the sheer size of the park. Now, I am in awe and wonder. Billy Boy is a Havanese. He is a male. He's 2.5 years old. He weighs 22 pounds. He arrived during COVID, of course. I had never had a dog in my life. Every day with Billy Boy is sheer joy. I continuously wonder at his intelligence, his ability to manipulate me, and his open-hearted happiness and his energy. Albert Einstein said, "One cannot but be in awe when one contemplates the mysteries of eternity, of life, of the marvelous structure of reality. It is enough if one tries merely to comprehend a little of this mystery every day." So today, go for a walk, watch a movie, visit a shut-in, play with a kid, or do whatever strikes your fancy. Then think how awe and wonder played a part in your experience.
Now is the time to find that sheet of paper. I can't tell if everybody has one, but I'll just hope you do. Look closely at your piece of paper as I share these words from Thich Nhat Hanh. If you are a poet, you will see clearly that there is a cloud floating in this sheet of paper. Without a cloud, there would be no rain. Without rain, the trees cannot grow. And without trees, we cannot make paper. The cloud is essential for the paper to exist. If the cloud is not here, the sheet of paper cannot be here either. And so we say that the cloud and the paper inter-are. Interbeing is a word that is not in the dictionary yet, or wasn't when Thich Nhat Hanh wrote this. But if we combine the prefix inter with the verb to be, we have a new verb, interbe. Without a cloud and the sheet of the cloud and the sheet of paper inter-are. If we look at this sheet of paper more deeply, and I invite you to do so, we can see the sunshine in it. If the sunshine is not there, the forest cannot grow. In fact, nothing can grow. Even we cannot grow without sunshine. And so we know that the sunshine is also on this sheet of paper. The paper and the sunshine inter-are. And if we continue to look, we can see the logger who cut down the tree and brought it to the mill to be transformed into paper. I'd like to see the recycle center that took old paper and turned it into new. And we see the wheat, Thich Nhat Hanh continues. We know the logger cannot exist without his daily bread, and therefore the wheat that became his bread is also in this sheet of paper. And the logger's father and mother are in it too. And when we look at it this way, we see that without all these things, this sheet of paper cannot exist. Looking even more deeply, we see that we are in it too. It is not difficult to see, because when we look at a sheet of paper, the sheet of paper is part of our perception. Your mind is in here, and mine is also. So we can say everything is in here with this sheet of paper. You cannot point out one thing that is not there. Time, space, the earth, the rain, the minerals of the soil, the sunshine, the cloud, the river, the heat. Everything coexists in this sheet of paper. That's why I think the word interbe should be in the dictionary. And as an aside, I'm thinking it might be by now. To be is to interbe. You cannot just be by yourself alone. You have to interbe with every other thing. This sheet of paper is because everything else is. And as thin as a sheet of paper is, it contains everything in the universe in it.
Well, today we're passing out guests at our table boxes as the traditional way of supporting the UUSC's work. Our children and youth will be receiving their boxes in their classes today. The rest of you are welcome to find these at the either at the welcome table or just outside the front doors of the sanctuary if you want them. The UUSC is the service arm of UUism. Perhaps you already know that the UUSC birthed the chalice as the secret symbol of help for refugees in World War II. Today, the UUSC forges partnerships with local non-governmental organizations that share our goals. This lets local groups set the agenda, and it makes our effectiveness as great as possible. The UUSC also works directly. There is the Congregational Accompaniment Project for Asylum Seekers, that's a mouthful, or CAPAS for short, which supports refugees and, along with UU congregations, helps solve their problems. A good example of this is Amana Dost, an Afghan teenage girl. She and her family went to the Bagram airport when Kabul fell, and in the chaos there, she became separated from her true family. She was lumped together with a family she had never met before, and they were evacuated as a group to Doha, Qatar. They were put in a refugee camp there until CAPAS took notice of her. With considerable pro bono legal work and with the help of the UU congregations in Williamsburg and in Durango, she made it to the United States. Their next task is to reunite the family in a safe place. This work is not yet over, but it undoubtedly will succeed. So the UUSC does accomplish a lot. Let's do what we can to support them. for the work of the fellowship, bringing love, reason, and compassion and justice to this world, and for the UUSC, we dedicate these offerings.
And now And now I invite us into our time of community connection, our time of sacred sharing. If you're in the sanctuary today, you can come up front, share your joy or concern using the microphone, and add a stone to the waters. Or you can add a stone in silence. Please keep your mask on when you share. I'll put mine back on. If you're on Zoom and you'd like to share a joy or concern, please type it into the chat window, sending it to everyone, and let us know briefly what is in your heart today. Once everyone in the sanctuary has shared, Reverend Lydia will read out loud the joys and concerns from the chat, and I will add a stone to our sacred waters on your behalf. Wherever you are, please tell us your name, where you live, when you share.
Another stone, please, for all of those victims of gun violence, whether they be in the war in the Ukraine or here in our streets. And the final stone for those struggling with debilitating mental health issues and their caregivers. May all of us know the love that surrounds us. May all of us reach out with our heart's eye, reach out with the love that we have to blanket those in need. And may we also be willing to receive that blanket of love, that embrace of love as a part of this beloved community. Blessed be. Amen.
One more time to create music together. Hymn number 18 in the gray hymnal, What Wondrous Love, which is one of my favorites. Again, number 18 in the gray hymnal, would you stand and join me?
Thank you so much. That's one of my favorite tender hymns. I do have a few announcements, so if you could hang tight. We are in the holiday season, so there's a lot going on here. For those of you who are interested in connecting with their awe and wonder and connecting that around conserving our planet, we do have a green sanctuary team. Sherry Price, a member here, has created a simple handout with easy ways to get involved collectively or individually. You can find that at the welcome table, or she will also send it out on our info@ email list. As I mentioned before, the Inquirer series today is a chat with me. All are welcome, but it's especially designed for newcomers. I'm going to hang out here on Zoom, and Rosemary Arp is going to set up a computer in the sanctuary for those who are in person. We also have holiday cards for those among us who aren't able to come often, or who may need an extra lift this holiday season, and they are in the fellowship hall, and you can sign them. I put something out offering if folks wanted to self-organize a walk around Wanaka Lake or the fellowship, depending upon the weather out there, just to see if you can cultivate some of that awe and wonder in your own, in the localness of our space. So feel free to self-organize that if you can, those who are there. Thursday evening, this Thursday, December 8th, yes, we will have our annual When Hope is Hard to Find service. So it's a service especially designed for folks for whom the holidays pose some challenges, no matter what they are. And it's a small contemplative service with sharing. It will be in the sanctuary at 7 p.m. Masks are required, and it is an in-person only service. There won't be Zoom for that service. Next week is the Mitten Tree. For those of you who've been around for a while, you know it's the Sunday when people bring scarves and mittens and hats, and we decorate our Christmas tree with it, and then donate them all to the Emergency Family Assistance Association. And so please bring your mittens and hats to the service next week. Now, the other thing is, especially during this time of year, you may know, or you may be someone who might appreciate a call or a visit from another UU, or even an opportunity to share a walk. And if you knew somebody who's kind of falling away from the fellowship and might need a little lifesavers thrown out to them, or a lifeboat, or maybe they've just drifted away. If you know of any of those, or if that might be you, you can fill out our caring request form, and you can volunteer to be a neighborhood buddy, making those calls and visits. And excuse me, our caring request form or the neighborhood buddy form. The neighborhood connectors will help connect you to you. Will help get you back on board and even help you make a new friend. The links are in the chat. And now I will ask Marilyn to go and extinguish our chalice. And you can repeat the words after me. We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, or the energy of action. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. May we all go forward, experiencing the joy and the marvel of this moment right here and all the moments of our days. Blessed be. Amen.